Bullies are everywhere. And they come in all shapes and sizes. They do. Like him. NYPD officials come for activists after clash with Eric Adams. We're going to recap it for you. One person brought a ton of receipts. The other person just kind of,
The federal monitor, who is tasked with ensuring that NYPD is following the law, conducted an analysis.
Came under who?
Conducted an analysis that happened 8 years ago, but they're still here monitoring what you're doing. And they said that you have brought back stop and frisk policies that are worse than they saw even during the Bloomberg era. But more importantly, they analyzed the neighborhood safe.
Show me that.
I could show you the report is available, and I know it's been available to you because your spokesperson has commented on it. They did an analysis of over 10 precincts,
you can't keep putting out
10
stuff
different
that's
precincts.
factual.
That is factual. There's a federal monitor reporting to Judge T. Swain on it and presenting the information. They said that, yes, listen, let me finish so you can peel it back. They conducted an analysis of 10 different precincts, and of the stops of 10 different precincts, they found that 97% of them, by the way, of the neighborhood safety teams that were disbanded in 2020 because of their disproportionate abuse against Black and Hispanic people that you revived, they analyzed 10 of those different neighborhood safety teams and found that they're conducting 97% of their stops on Black and brown people, and a quarter of them are unconstitutional. That's what the federal monitor said, not me.
Yeah. Unless you're helping Jay-Z in the studio, I don't know why you did that over and over again, Mayor Adams. Yeah. Okay. She had receipts. Who is she? She's a defense attorney. She's an activist. Call her Olay. I love her. She knows what she's talking about, and you're not going to cut her off and back her down. She's going to get her point across. And when I first saw it, I said, well, where's Charlamagne? Where's everyone else? They must have exited the studio. No, they decided they were going to let this Black woman do what she needed to do. Why interrupt her, right? Okay.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Sparked controversy, her appearance last week, Breakfast Club, after she blasted New York City Mayor Eric Adams during a March 29th interview on the program. Olay took Adams to task again and again on misleading rhetoric about rising crime while emphasizing deadly police shootings, which enraged conservatives who accused her of downplaying the recent killings of an NYPD officer. Now look, I listened to it. We played you clip after clip. That's not what she did. Nice try. And I don't believe the NYPD did this just because, although they've been guilty of that in the past. Okay, they did it because former cop, Mayor Adams, who was brought to the chair without a mandate. I mean, we have like 10 people running. Is it really a mandate? Stop governing with this dictatorship mentality, like you have a mandate and the people of New York and blah, blah. She got him and he didn't like it. So suddenly everyone's against her and using more rhetoric to try to reframe what she actually said. Not true. Hold him accountable. The appearance took place 4 days after police officer Jonathan Diller was fatally shot as he conducted a traffic stop on March 25th, becoming the first NYPD officer to be killed in the line of duty in 2 years. And as several other violent episodes have plagued the city's subways in recent weeks. Diller was killed after he and his partner were investigating an illegally parked SUV when the suspect, identified as 34-year-old Guy Rivera, pictured there, emerged from the passenger side and fatally shot Diller, despite the officer wearing a bulletproof vest. Diller's partner wounded Rivera and disarmed him before Rivera was booked on several charges, including first-degree murder. Now, during the sit-down, Olay defended a progressive new law in New York that allows cashless bail for suspects, asserting that most people released from jail under this ordinance do not get rearrested. A stance that did not sit well with Republicans in the aftermath of Diller's slaying. The interview took a heated turn when she used Diller's death to describe the murder of police officers as a rare occurrence nationwide, while asserting that New York City police officers had killed a number of civilians during the first 3 months of 2024. Atlanta Black Star with the details, but we want you to see it for yourself.
commit a crime or you're rearrested, that you bail can and will be set on you. So that's the first thing. Second of all, they have conducted multiple studies, but the Brennan Center literally just put out one. Less than 2% of anybody in New York City that's released on bail is rearrested for any violent crime. More importantly, in the same breath that you want to sensationalize me, want to highlight and point out, an officer was killed the other day, which is a rare occurrence across the United States, but let alone in New York. New York police officers have killed at least 7 people this year, including a 19-year-old. An NYPD officer killed a 19-year-old in Queens yesterday.
I'm not going to dismiss the loss of a life of an innocent person that wears a uniform to protect us.
But you do, of the 31 people dead at Rikers and the 19-year-old killed yesterday.
I go visit those parents that lose their loved ones to violence.
Are you visiting the family of the...
Do you do that?
First of all, yes, I did. I held a Riker. I represented hundreds...
You went to visit the family members of a slain officer?
No, not the slain officer.
Okay, of course you did.
No, but what about the 19-year-old that was killed yesterday by NYPD in Queens when he called for help? Have you said anything about that? Are you visiting them?
Yeah,
There he is again, like he's in a rap video. Look, can the truth just be what we go with? I didn't hear anywhere in there her disrespect the memory of Officer Diller. I didn't hear that. It may be uncomfortable for some to hear. I don't know why it would be. She said that the killing line of duty police officers rare. Those are the words she used in a sentence. And I haven't heard anyone argue with those facts. Instead, officer up here, civilian, usually a person of color, not as valuable. That's the point she's making. She didn't say that he deserved it, the officer fallen in the line of duty. She does this. This is rhetoric because you don't want to answer to facts and truth and people who are suffering because of your policies. 19-year-old Olay was referring to was Wynn Rosario, whom NYPD cops fatally shot as the teen was in mental distress after he called 911 on himself, right? Looking for help. The police shot Rosario as he was wielding scissors in his Queens home. His family is now calling for justice over what they believe is wrongful killing. That's what she wanted. Why not visit the teen's family? Show some empathy there. She and the other hosts challenged Adams to reconcile his persistent claim that New York City is one of the safest big cities in the nation, while simultaneously decrying rampant subway crime. Which is it, Mayor? Accusing Adams of intentionally trying to rouse fear in the public. Is it safe or is it not? She asked Adams pointedly. You can't have your cake and eat it too. As the tense on-air exchange continued, Adams defended his policies on, what she claimed the mayor had created. False sense of urgency around recent subway crimes, leading to beefed up patrols by law enforcement that she suggested would likely end up targeting people of color. He's right. During the interview, however, Adams defended his actions and explained how New Yorkers felt increasingly uneasy on city transit, leading to his recent steps to increase security. He could be right. New Yorkers are feeling uneasy about taking the subway. When you push a narrative and you hype things up, nobody said there's no crime on the subway, but when you hype things up, they probably are scared. And that's because you may be partially responsible for that. Mayor highlighting and then stepping over here and saying, we're safe. Whatever suits you in the moment. She later took to social media to defend her statements and to call out policies that have hurt the Black community since Mayor Adams took office. She wrote on X, Eric Adams not only revived police units that were disbanded in 2020 for their disproportionate abuse against Black and brown New Yorkers. He revived stop and frisk. Since he became mayor, 97% of all stops and searches have been on Black and Latino New Yorkers. Conservatives wasted no time on social media. They came for Olay. NYPD Chief of Patrol, John Chell, issued perhaps the most vehement responsible, accusing her of minimizing Dillard's death while relying on New York law enforcement for her own protection. This is so tired. He wrote on X, this movement, lawyer, epitomizes everything that true New Yorkers are against. Now, why are you speaking for every New Yorker and saying some are true if they don't agree with you? Just a question I had. Do you think for a moment that community boards and block associations agree with what this misinformed person stands for? Misinformed? Anyway, I will get back in a couple of days after the funeral tomorrow for police officer Jonathan Diller, the very person you dismissed today. Rest assured, though, if you need help this weekend, okay, this guy will lay down our lives to protect you. If only that were true for everyone. Police officers do work in the community. They do face danger. And you hope when you need them that they're reasonable and measured in their use of force if they must. If you need them in a mental health crisis, your loved one perhaps, you hope that they've been trained properly to understand that everything doesn't need to be met with deadly force. Scissors, and you're not going to convince me otherwise, so don't try, okay? Later the same night, Shell made another post showing she had blocked his account on the platform. This is just petty. No, it's a little petty here. Like, so what? She blocked him because he was trashing her and it's not being honest about things. If NYPD is openly harassing a media professional and attorney simply because I outperformed the mayor in an interview, one can only imagine how they treat everyday citizens who critique them. Boy, this sister's on it. No wonder we paid $121 million on police misconduct settlements last year. More facts. She just keeps bringing more facts. March 31st, she made another post X saying she had compiled the receipts to verify her claims against Adams, providing a link to a YouTube video in which she fact checks the interview. It's comedic seeing NYPD and exclusively right-wing outlets and politicians defend Eric Adams and call me a liar. Yet none of them can say what I lied about because everything I said is easily verifiable, she wrote. Notably, Shell said in early March the transit crime had decreased by 12% over the last 5 weeks, attributing this decline to the additional police deployment and the planned commitment by his department and Mayor Adams. Even though crime has declined in the city since spiking after the pandemic shutdowns, Adams and Hochul, governor, are mainly reacting to a 45% spike in major crimes on the subway in January, according to the New York Times. And, you know, I don't just accept data when people present it. I need to look under the hood. I need to know who compiled it. I need to know what's classified as a major crime or a nuisance crime. I need to know what's in the recipe, the ingredients, before I declare and accept something full force. This is a job. Senator, they did a job on her and she's still standing. Her fingers work just fine too because she's pushing out more content in a professorial way. I've said enough, and it's time for you to just bring us home.
No, you talk all I love hearing your commentary, Sharon. So Olay did a tremendous job. Big ups to her. Big ups to the Breakfast Club for having her on, Charlamagne and the crew, and she led that interview beautifully. Mayor Adams should be ashamed of himself. He should correct his chief of police, because if the chief got time on his hands to mess with Olay, he got too much time on his hands. Now, he may not have liked what Olay had to say, but as she laid out, she got the receipts and the facts. Don't quibble with the facts. When it comes to the slain officer, Officer Diller, I didn't see Olay minimize that. Officers do get killed in the line of duty. This officer was killed in the line of duty. It is sad. It is horrible. Olay laid out that is rare, and it should be rare. I mean, we want that. We don't want police officers killed in the line of duty, because when people start killing police officers in the line of duty, then there really is no hope for the rest of us. So it should be rare. Condolences to Diller's family and to the New York community, because it is dangerous. My son is in law enforcement. I worry about him every day. And Sharon, I had a friend of mine, a neighbor, lived on my street, him and his wife, his family, Derek Owens, Erica and Derek Owens. And Derek Owens got killed in the line of duty in pursuit. You shaking your head. I know you remember that. I think you were still here in Cleveland with us when he got killed in the line of duty. So yes, it happens. Is it wrong? Absolutely. Should justice prevail? Absolutely. Sharon's point about justice prevailing for all is the point really that Olay was trying to make. But Mayor Adams got all up in his feelings and he couldn't think clearly. He revamped frisk, the stop and frisk. He didn't have to do that. He could have handled that differently, but he decided to do it, so he has to live with it. If this program is in fact targeting, or the targets 97% are Black and Hispanic, then there's something wrong with the program, Mayor Adams. And there's a variety of ways to provide for safe conditions, both on the subway and also in the city itself. And sharing my last point, because I get it. One crime, if you are the victim of crime, that is one crime too much. And so we got to go ahead and admit that people's pain when they are the victim of crime matters. But there are other levels of crime that is happening. And let me not say but, and it is the crime of a legal system that only sees Black people and brown people, and by extension, poor people from all walks of life, as somehow different and somehow undeserving of justice and what justice means. And justice doesn't mean being judge, jury, and executioner on the streets. Justice does not mean not giving people a second chance. So not only should we be looking at the front line, the officers who are on the front lines, we need to look at the entire system. So that means judges and everybody else that's wrapped up into that system, Sharon. It needs change and it needs to be fixed. And I really believe that was the overall point that Olay was making to this mayor. And since he is an executive, he has an opportunity. Him and that police chief, they got too much time on his hands, threatening a Black woman too, et cetera. Let me put an exclamation point on that. And I don't care who don't like it. He got too much time on his hands. Instead, they should sit down and get some understanding and listen to what Olay has to say, and other activists who care about the legal system of criminal justice reform. And let's come together and not only make New York safer, but make the whole country safer. But it is not just by lording down police officers and putting their lives at risk. And one more point to my last point, the 19-year-old, because I couldn't let that go by. The 19-year-old called the police because he was in crisis. He actually did the right thing. Now he got gunned down. I don't know all the circumstances surrounding why he got gunned down, but let me just say this. A program that could be put in place in New York, and if it's there, they need to strengthen it, is that when somebody calls and you clearly know that they're having a medical crisis, you need to send some other folks with the police too, so that you can decrease the likelihood that it will turn into what happened to that 19-year-old. Again, emotions are flaring in the moment. I get that. I understand that. But when somebody calls the police, they are in crisis one way or the other, and they deserve to be helped. That 19-year-old was gunned down. And so investigations have to happen as to why that happened. And then what are we going to do to correct situations like that? So in summation, police officers getting killed in the line of duty is totally unacceptable. Civilians and everyday citizens who are seeking justice, transparency, and accountability from law enforcement from New York to Cleveland, Ohio, they deserve to get that. And if they're not getting that, that is unacceptable as well.
Nothing you just said is controversial. Every bit of what you just said makes sense. And the fact that you brought up Officer Derek Owens killed in the line of duty, I sat at the desk and cried. I had to demand that we give him the send-off that we gave other officers who were killed in the line of duty, by the way. I said, no, we're going to take the funeral live.
That's right.
And all these years later, what a good father. I still remember the picture. I remember the kids' names. Okay, his daughter, Sydney, Chandler, the wife, Erica. Right? Yes. And I remember the little girl saying, my daddy loved me. My daddy did my hair. He was taken from us. Yeah. And the spotlight was where it was rightly supposed to be.
That's right.
We're not against honoring lives lost, taken.
That's right.
It's just about making sure we matter too. The 19-year-old in crisis matters. The single mother, her son, the Black man. We matter too. Nothing about that is controversial. Not a thing. Wow, I still remember Officer Owens. I do.
I do too, Sharon.
I sometimes look up and I just want to see how his family's doing.
Yeah, they're doing well. I mean, we all lived on the same street together.
Oh my
goodness. Just a community. And there's a scholarship that I helped to start when I was on Cleveland City Council with his wife. With his wife, Erica, called the Derek Owens Scholarship, is being held at the Cleveland Foundation. So if any of our viewers want to look that up and contribute to that, please do. Those scholarships go to Cleveland school children who are pursuing a career, in the justice field. And it is really a beautiful, beautiful thing. But big ups to Erica, who is doing magnificent. And the babies that you just named, Sharon, they're not even babies anymore.
Oh my goodness.
God, and thank you for what you did at Channel 19 to make sure that his life was honored in real time. That really was a gut punch for so many of us in the greater Cleveland area.
They won't remember me, Senator, but if you have chance in the future to just let them know I still think about them. They had a tremendous impact on me. It makes me want to tear up. Just a great family. It jumped through the screen at me. I knew it.
You're unforgettable, Sharon. They will remember you.
I remember them. This is indisputable. I needed to dry my eyes a little bit on that one. There's those stories that you just can't let go of them. That was one for me. It really was one for me.